Hi, this is Showman Roy. In this video, I'm going to explain what is Azure Gov. So before I start, I wanted to give a understanding of what is cloud. It is mainly for having various data centers across the globe, and you can actually access by by code. You literally can spin up any server based on your requirement for either application server or media server or email server, anything, whatever you want. Based on your requirement, you can programmatically, like using any program remotely without engaging anyone, actually you can get those servers. And that's the power. That's why it's called the infrastructure by coding. Like you can imagine, like literally few lines of code, you can get a server created for you. Of course, you have to pay for it, but but how easy, like whenever on demand, you can get a new server working for you and available for you for your applications or whatever the purpose is available. And that's where the power of cloud computing. Now, before I go into details about the Gov version of the cloud, I'd like to give you some of the numbers that are here. So, as of now, Azure Active Directory users are over 500,000, 500 million, and active websites are 200. You can see the numbers, and this SQL more than what is that? It is a million. 1,500,000 SQL databases are created so far. So, and 777 trillion storage transactions per day. So that's the large scale Microsoft Azure has so far created for throughout the world. Now, in terms of the Gov, how it is different or how it is secure, you can see there are only 5 main actual region that are throughout the United States. So let me give you those. So one is in Iowa. So you can see this is the one. So let me make use of the pen. So you can see this here. One is in the Iowa, and you can see one is in the Arizona, and one is in the Texas, then one is in Virginia, and then you do have the US DoD East region, and there is another which is US DoD Central. Now, let me give you an idea here that those two DoD, which is Department of Defense, they're dedicated region. Those data centers are only dedicated to Department of Defense, and those are let me highlight those. This is the one is this one, and the other one is this one. So one is in the East region and one is in the Central region. So these are the total 5 different the Gov regions right now that are highly secure. That means they are protected by various regulations, various policies, that no one can access those servers unless even from outside United States. You cannot access those unless you really have certain permissions. So those are the one that is for Gov. Now, these are exclusively designed, those data centers, for government usage. And all the resources that are available there, like for example, resources like VM, virtual machines, or app services or functions that are available for government to use, that are already DoD certified, those are the ones that are available and certified by DoD in order for them to be part of the Azure cloud. or Azure Gov Cloud. So these are like and mainly when you go and start see the main difference between the Azure Gov and the consumer side is that their URLs or the endpoints are all different. As you can see here, the portals itself is like portal dot this. So you can see that this is the portal dot Azure dot here. So that Active Directory endpoints is also different. You can see the login dash us .microsoftonline.com and so forth. So most of the endpoints for the Gov is different. So that's one of the most important things to learn when you're working with Gov. You cannot just go to portal.azure.com. You have to go to portal.azure.us. That's one of the most important things to know. So this is one of my favorite slides that says that how you're going to actually models like what is on-prem and what is IaaS and what is PaaS and what is SaaS. The biggest thing is that on-prem you do everything. Like you have the data center, you have the servers, you have the load balancers, you have everything. You have the network plug, everything. Like you own everything. So if you see this one, like when you're going to eat pizza, you make your own pizza, the first option here. So you can see this one. So this one. So for this one, like start with dough. So you make your own pizza. Start with dough. Like everything, you have your utensils, your table, oven, everything, right? So that's what is on-prem. Now, if it is IaaS, so in that case, you manage the applications, the data, the runtime, the middleware, and the operating system. But the infrastructure, like managed by Microsoft. So compared to this one, like you get the frozen pizza, and now you bring that, you have the oven, your table, and utensils, but you really don't need to go up to the dough or just make it all the ingredients and everything. So that's pretty much like IaaS. Now, the platform as a service, where you can see you manage the application and the data. So compared to you get somebody deliver the pizza. That means they bring the pizza, all you have to do is heat and eat, right? So same thing here for the PaaS. The most of the time, like the applications, you manage the application, you manage the data, the rest everything is Microsoft Azure. So that's pretty much like delivery. You have the utensils, you have the table, just you need and then you get the pizza, just eat it, right? So that's same thing here. And software as a service, like completely, you just relax, you enjoy your food, like nothing, you just enjoy the food. So you just use the application. So here you just go to any restaurant and then eat the pizza, right? So those are the main things. And here, like software as a service means everything they do. All we do is consume the services or the software. So that's the same model that is there as well. So in Azure, everything is like a service. So you have like you need the virtual machine, you have it. You need a load balancer, you have it. You need some any kind of like storage, you have a hard drive, anything. All you need is to request. As a matter of fact, you have the portal, where using the portal you can get everything, but you don't have to really use, if you know how to code it, you can get those infrastructure from the code. So you can mainly control from your code, like if you know C# or Python, or like even using REST-based API calls, you can create the entire infrastructure. So for example, you need a server, an app server. You can get into once you have the Azure subscription, you can just create one. So these are the different things that you can get here. Like for computing purpose, you have this one. For the okay, so let's start from the infrastructure services. That you have the computer, you have the storage, you have the networking. So all these things you have. Now, platform as a services, like you have even the cloud services, service fabrics, the batch operations, and all these things are there. One of my favorite is web app, logic app, the API app. These are all managed, highly scalable. So you develop the application, then you just have to deploy it, and depending on the usage, the infrastructure automatically scale up and down. So you don't have to worry about all those things. So obviously when you're a developer, you have the Visual Studio integrated with Azure, and Application Insight can actually give you a lot of feed about whatever the logging, and give you a lot of information. Database is definitely one of the biggest advantage, because it is all highly scalable and highly available as well. So, and the SQL warehouse and search tables, many things. So, and it is all media and CDNs are one of the very powerful things. So all these things you can get out of this one. So now, in terms of the difference between the Gov and the commercial, is that it is only difference in terms of the endpoint. So when you use all of these things, it is predefined for Gov with highly secure, with a lot of policies are in place. So and compliance. So those are already taken care and approved by the DoD, and it is constantly changing with the new policies will be always in place. So if you have to host a service, as an Azure as a service, you definitely can work with anything, whether whether it's in web app or mobile app or whatever. Like you can see, you can actually literally create the services and expose that as an API. But if you want to make it more like a logic app driven, there are certain things that you can define the whole flow and integrate with multiple system. You can use the logic app and so forth. It's basically very open. It is not limited to certain languages, but it is very any language or thing you can do. Identify the face info. We do have a lot of APIs that are mainly for cognitive services. Those features are also available for Gov, and as well as exclusively for using and managing the identity and recognition on the facial recognition, all those APIs that are readily available. So and in terms of the Docker containers, it's one of the very nice approach that industry is moving with the Docker containers. You divide a gigantic applications into pieces, and those pieces you can create images like a Docker images, and then you can Docker either manage and create the cluster, and that you can actually the good part is the Azure can actually help you manage those for both scalability and let's say if there is a failover, so it can quickly launch and make sure that those are highly available. So these are the containers. If you have those containers, your application already managed by smaller containers or based on the images, those, and it is very easy to launch that in Azure. both like in the consumer side and the Gov side. So, and also it supports multiple languages. So earlier it is not just the .NET, it is like now widespread with like Python, Node.js, Java, Ruby, PHP, C++, and anything. Literally, you can have any language that you wanted to use it is available in easily in the Azure platform. So, and these SDKs are you can use to launch any resources that we just have on those data centers across the globe. So, pretty much. So, whenever we are talking about the resources, it is everything in Azure are some kind of resources. Whether it's a virtual machine, whether it's a network, like it's a sub domain, or so DNS, or storage, file, table, everything, like whether it's a media server, everything is a resource. Now, because of that, Azure has given us with something called a group, a resource group. So you define a resource group and create anything that is available in Azure in that group. The advantage is that you basically put this together, you secure them, and then you start using it. Now, if you think that you need to, let's say, don't want to use this group, anything, literally you delete that resource, and it will automatically shut down everything in that. Virtual machines, web apps, you name it, everything. Whatever hundreds of different resources that we are using in the Azure, everything will be gone. That means you don't have to really pay for that. That means they're gone. So and that is the power that we have. So that's why we do have everything in Azure pretty much maintained by the resource manager, right? So viewing managing the resource groups are very easy, as I just mentioned. From the portal, you can just go and you say these are you can just say delete the resource group. You can see this is you can say this is the resource group. You can just delete. Simply, you can just delete it. So you hit the delete button, and all the resources, you can see these are the different resources that you have here. Everything, like you see the Cloud City as the event hub, or the app service plan, the storage account, the app, all this. You see this entire list, that everything will be deleted. So that's pretty much. So if in both, like using the portal, or you can use the simple coding, so you can actually access those resources. Now, obviously, it's available for both Azure Commercial and Azure Gov, right? So again, as I just mentioned, like the Azure portal for government, the portal is different. This is portal.azure.us compared to the consumer one is portal.azure.com. Now this is the portal.azure.us. So if you have any questions about the main differences, give me a call, or just start exploring. There are a lot of resources. Thank you for watching this video. In next video, I'll introduce you with the Gov version of web app. Thank you.